Hi, and in this video, I'm going to share 4 things a man needs to feel to fall in love with you. Hi ladies, Matt Shaffer, your empowerment, connection, and relationship coach. I'm a former attorney who's committed his life to supporting you and creating the sort of fun, fulfilling, dynamic connections and relationships with men that you are so worthy of. And in this video, we're going to be diving into the 4 big things that every man, either consciously or subconsciously, needs to feel in order to emotionally drop in and connect with you at a deep emotional level. In other words, to fall in love. And I work with my clients and students on this every day, and I'm stoked to dive into it. But before we do, take a second, hit that little subscribe button, and don't forget to click that little bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And be sure to click the link in the comments and caption, because I have created some great content that's gonna make a huge difference in your connections and relationships with men. So before we get into these 4 things, it's important to understand the nature of emotions. All emotions are energy in motion, right? And in relationship or connection with a man, it's just an energy flow between the two of you. That's the flow of emotions. And so there are just fundamental things that men and women need to activate from each other in order to create chemistry, polarity, and deep love. This is what's known as the interdependence of the masculine and the feminine. And this is going to be a sort of fundamental principle that's going to run through these 4 things that I'm about to share with you. And I want to make sure you understand that I'm talking about interdependence, meaning there are things we need from each other in order to fall in love, not codependence, meaning that you need somebody to make you feel a certain way so you can be happy. Emotional codependence is not healthy, and it establishes addictive, toxic relationships. But interdependence means that we can make each other feel things together that we can't necessarily feel on our own. And one of the key things that you can make a man feel that a man is craving from you is freedom, okay? And emotional freedom, sort of psychological freedom. This is going to be a theme that's going to be under all the things that I'm about to share with you. And the last principle it's important to understand is that men lack the same level of emotional agency that women do. Meaning we're not as consciously connected and exploring our feelings the same way that women are. We're not talking about our feelings with our friends, right? We're not thinking about why we're feeling certain things and trying to unpack or get to the bottom of it. We're simply feeling a feeling and then reacting to it. So if we feel something feels good to us, we're generally going to do more of it. If something doesn't feel good to us, we're going to avoid it or do less of it, right? We're not going to be thinking about, what's underneath that? What does it mean about who we are? So this is actually a great thing for you because it means men are pretty simple, right? If a man feels a certain thing, a lot of times you can predict his response, right? Which is why these 4 feelings we're about to uncover are so important for you. Now, I want you to remember the 4 things a man needs to feel with 4 letters. R-A-S-E. Yep, RACE explains these 4 letters. So let's dive into the first one. The first thing a man needs to feel is respected. Respected for what he's up to in the world. And what does that look like? What does that feel like for him, right? Well, men are fundamentally, we're purpose-driven creatures. We are builders. We are creators. We're out there in the world working on our business, investing our time and energy into that. We're pouring our time and energy into our hobbies, into our passions. We're looking to build ourselves and build our lives up in those areas as well. And one of the most beautiful things that you can do, right, is to demonstrate that you respect us for what it is that we are doing and creating in the world. So how do you demonstrate that respect? Well, interestingly enough, one of the easiest ways to respect what a man is up to in the world, whether it be a business he's building or a hobby or a passion, a sport that he's into, is to give him space. Give him space to do it and create it, right? Honor that he's passionate about something and don't try to get in between him and that business or that thing that he's so into, right? Because one of the biggest ways that women undermine themselves in relationship, and I've seen this happen time and time again, is they feel threatened by a man's passion for his work. Or they start to feel scared about how close he is with his friends. And when they do that, they start trying to sabotage or maybe come between him and this thing that's really important to him. And nothing's going to make a man shut down or pull away from you faster than for him to feel like you're trying to undermine or take him away from something that he's super committed to or that's a really important part of his life. Does that make sense? And another great way to demonstrate respect for what a man is up to in the world is to ask him questions about it. If he's got a business that he's building or a startup or is very passionate about his work, ask him questions about why he loves it. Let him speak into that to you. And just the fact that he feels your interest and your curiosity for what he's into, he's going to really thrive off of that. He's going to feel really seen and respected for that. And I know personally, if a woman starts asking me questions and is genuinely curious about my YouTube channel or about my coaching or about any of the things that I'm so passionate about in my life, it amplifies my attraction to her to a completely different level. And the second thing a man needs to feel to fall in love with you is acknowledged. Acknowledged for his actions. It's a double A. So what does it mean to acknowledge a man for his actions? It means that you get to give him validation. You get to give him positive feedback for the things that he does. It's simple, right? And this applies across the whole spectrum, from the most menial little activities like taking out the garbage or whatever, up to, the huge things that he's up to in the world. The same things that we sort of talked about in the R letter, right? So are you acknowledging him? Do you have him in a continual feedback loop of acknowledgement where you say, thanks so much for taking out the garbage. It really means a lot to me when you just do these things for me. It really makes me feel provided for. See, when you acknowledge him using positive feeling statements, it's going to light him up, it's going to activate him, and he's going to want to do more of those things for you, which is pretty nice, right? So how do we acknowledge a man for what he's doing? Well, the first thing is to start asking ourselves, what has he done right for me? What has he done right? What do I notice that he is doing right in his life, that he is doing right in our relationship? And then ask yourself, how can I validate that for him? How can I acknowledge him for that in a way that's going to matter to him? Meaning, how can I acknowledge him for that in his love languages? So ask yourself, do you know your man's love languages? Is one of his love languages words of affirmation? Is it acts of service, right? Because that's going to really determine whether or not you're going to want to lead with verbal affirmation or whether or not you're going to want to do something nice for him, right? To help him feel really special and thank him for what he's up to and what he's done for you or in your relationship, right? And another thing that you really can't go wrong with is acknowledging him with touch, because for most men, touch is a primary love language and one of the easiest ways to show a man in a very deep, meaningful way that you appreciate what he's done for you. So for me, touch is a primary love language. And if I've had an amazing date, I'm in the early stages of dating somebody and I've had an amazing date with them, we've had incredible chemistry, and I planned something wonderful out and everything's gone beautifully, I am deeply desiring at the end of that date some form of physical validation. And no, I do not mean sex, but I would love, and what means so much to me is when a woman gives me a wonderful kiss at the end of a date, or just a warm, sensual hug, just something like that, some physical validation. That's a hugely emotional thing for me, and it helps me truly feel like I landed with her and like she deeply appreciates the actions that I took and the date that I planned for her. So remember that, ladies. Just because a man wants a kiss maybe at the end of a good date, it does not necessarily mean that he is trying to sleep with you on that date or anytime soon. It's maybe just that touch is a primary love language for him, and he's just looking for that form of like emotional acknowledgement and validation from you for what he's done for you and how much he likes you and how excited he is about you. Now, it's also important to address the other side of this, which is that there is no bigger wet blanket for a man for whom touch is a primary love language than to have a woman at the end of a great date give him one of those awkward side hugs, or even worse, the handshake, as if you just completed an amazing board meeting. Anything like that, and a man is going to get in his head, right? He's going to maybe feel a little rejected, and then he's going to also get in his head and ask himself, well, I thought it went well. Maybe it didn't go as well for her as it did for me. And that's going to then, detract his confidence, which is going to lead to him showing up differently to you moving forward, right? Which is it's going to decrease the polarity, basically, instead of encouraging him to continue to step forward and step up and be the driver of the relationship, which is part of the healthy paradigm that masculine and feminine relationships exist within. And the last thing I want to address on this subject, ladies, is if you are resistant or fearful of physical touch, it's important for you to realize first off that physical touch does not have to mean sexual contact. It is not necessarily a sexual initiation, right? The energy you bring to that is a huge part of that. And just because you agree to give a man a nice hug or you give him a little kiss, don't assume that it has to lead to anything else, right? And any man who is operating from a space of integrity and who truly cares about you and respects you isn't going to try to push things further than you're comfortable with. Does that make sense? And if you're feeling very resistant or fearful to any type of physical touch, it's important to look at what trauma might be underneath that, right? What stories may you have created around physical touch that's leading to you pulling away from it altogether? Because if you keep those walls up, if you're not willing to, casually touch a man in a non-threatening, non-sexual way, it's going to keep him at arm's length from you emotionally and energetically, and it's going to slow down or stop altogether the process of you two building any sort of connection or intimacy with each other. And the third thing a man needs to feel to fall in love with you is safety. Not just any kind of safety, emotional safety. And I know that might sound a little funny, right? Because who thinks of man needing emotional safety? Well, if you think about it, it's sort of the inverse of what women are craving from men, right? So at a primitive, fundamental level, women are craving a sense of physical safety, right? From the masculine. This goes back to our caveman days, right? Where men were the protectors. So at a fundamental level, women are looking for men to sort of provide them a sense of physical grounding, physical safety and security. And similarly, men are craving from women, a lot of the times this is unconscious, right, or subconscious. They are craving emotional safety, meaning a space in which they can be emotionally vulnerable, they can be emotionally free, and they can put down all the walls that they have to keep up around their emotions in all other aspects of their life. Because honestly, with their family, in their work, and with their friends, a lot of times they have no space to be emotionally vulnerable or to explore or talk about or share any of their feelings, right? Positive or negative. So the fundamental truth here is that men are craving women who can create emotional safety for them because they are hardwired to see vulnerability and emotional expression as a form of weakness or as a way that they can get hurt. And this can be cultural conditioning, this can be from family, especially from prior generations, right, up until now. So how can we make a man feel a sense of emotional safety within our relationship? Like we are his emotional sanctuary, which is the magic thing that you're looking to establish with him. Well, you're going to start by really demonstrating and leading by example what it means to be emotionally vulnerable. So speaking into your feelings, not just when you're not having a great day, but when you're having an amazing time, when you're feeling incredible, right? Demonstrate for him what it looks like and what it sounds like to be emotionally expressive. Because remember, men have a lower degree of emotional agency than women do. Fundamentally. So the more you can demonstrate to him what it sounds like to be emotionally expressive, the more he's going to feel like, okay, well, maybe I can try to do this, right? Because I'm getting such an example of what it looks like. And the second way to create that sense of emotional safety is by drawing him out and inviting him to express and practice putting words on his feelings. So as he's sharing with you what he's done in his day, all of his actions, right? Interrupting him and asking him, how did it feel to be in that challenging situation? And giving him opportunities to practice this. It might feel awkward for him at first, and you might feel like you're stepping on his toes to interrupt him, to ask him about how he's feeling. But over time, he's going to get more comfortable doing it because, confidence is created by competence. Competence is created by practice. So give him an opportunity to practice, lead by example, and over time, he will get much more comfortable sharing his feelings with you, and it will be a huge relief for him, and he's really going to fall in love with you in an entirely deeper level. And I can tell you from personal experience that this one particularly is such an important part of emotional connection because I was dating a woman several years ago who constantly talked about her feelings. She was always talking about her feelings, and so much of our relationship sort of revolved around us having a conversation around how she was feeling, what was coming up for her, and as she was doing that, she was also constantly asking me how I was feeling, right? And so between her demonstrating continually how she was feeling and what was coming up for her, and then her asking me constantly what I was feeling and what was coming up for me, if for the first time in my life, I had a relationship where I felt safe expressing my own emotions. And that ended up becoming a huge connection point and bringing our relationship to a much more deeper, heart-filled level, right? So it was really powerful, and it really made our connection much more profound. And so I invite you to do it for yourself. And the last thing a man needs to feel to fall in love with you is excitement. Excitement. And he needs to be excited about the relationship, right? Excited to see you, excited to spend time with you. Because remember, as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things the masculine is craving from you is freedom. Freedom from the heaviness of his life, the heaviness of his routines and his responsibilities and all the things that he's building and doing and creating in the world. And he will, if he looks at you as a place for him to experience freedom and sort of to let go of all that stuff for a little while, he's going to be excited to spend time with you because you are a loving interruption to the monotony of his normal life. So how can we make a man excited to spend time with us? Well, we can start off by participating in things that he loves to do. So all the things that he's excited about, right? If he's into video games or he's into tennis or he's into whatever, right? Just joyfully saying, hey, can I play? Can I participate in this with you? Then you're going to become someone that isn't just his girlfriend or his partner or the girl he's dating, but you've become a playmate for him, right? And every man fundamentally has a really deep play drive, a play drive where they have a drive to play and be competitive, right? And that's another huge thing you can do to be exciting to him, is to be willing to be playfully competitive with him, gamify things, give him some challenge, give him some pushback. Be willing to say that you could beat him at his favorite video game, or, tease him about something that he's into that maybe you don't fully understand, but do it in a playful, loving way. The more you do that with him and you hold your frame with him in a powerful, high-value way, it's going to make him feel even more excited to spend time with you. So remember, ladies, those 4 things that a man needs to feel from you to fall in love and to really have a deep, meaningful connection in your relationship is RASE. R-A-S-E. And R stands for respected. A man needs to feel respected for who he is and what he's creating in the world. So are you giving him the space and honoring his practice of what he's doing? And then also, are you demonstrating that you're curious about what he's doing, that you truly do care and you're interested in it by asking him questions and just being present to whatever he's up to? And then the A is acknowledgement for his actions, right? So are you acknowledging him through his love languages, i.e. in a way that he understands and appreciates, right? Because here's the thing, if his primary love language is touch, the best thing you can do to acknowledge him for taking out the garbage or for, appreciating him for having a hard day at work is to give him a hug or pet his head or stroke him or do whatever. It's not going to be for you to verbally acknowledge him and say, I really appreciate that you took out the garbage, right? You want to save that one if his primary love language is words of affirmation. So learn his love languages and then acknowledge him for his actions, from his teeny tiny actions up to his huge earth-shattering accomplishments in the way that's going to mean the most to him. And the S stands for safety. Emotional safety. So ask yourself, are you this man's emotional sanctuary? Have you cultivated and created a safe space for him to practice that scary thing, that emotional vulnerability that he's probably been conditioned his entire life to not do? Right? So are you demonstrating, are you leading the way with your own vulnerability, with your own emotional expression? And then are you asking him questions? Are you asking him how he feels? Are you inviting him and inspiring him to step out and share these things for himself? Right? Because he's only going to get better with it with practice. and it happens so much in my own life. And I can tell you it makes a huge difference in the depth of your relationship when both of you can be comfortable in talking about your feelings without fear of judgment or retaliation, or that you're going to be received in a weird way by your partner. So make this emotional sanctuary a judgment-free zone. And lastly, a man needs to feel excited about you, excited about the things that you're doing together. So are you a loving interruption to his day? Are you inviting him to go out to a winery when he should be going to some after-hours networking thing, Are you being playful with him? Are you challenging him in a way? Are you curious to participate with him in things that he loves to do, whether it be going to the gun range, playing tennis, playing video games? Are you willing to play with him? Even if it's something that you're not good at, even if it's something that you're really not that interested in, that's not the point. The point is framing yourself not just as his partner, but as his playmate, which is a huge difference. And it's really going to ramp up the excitement factor in the relationship and help establish and create that sense of freedom that's going to make a man truly want to open himself up to you and fall in love with you at a deeper level. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you're going to go out there and use these things to create incredible relationships with the men in your life. But before you do, be sure to take a second, hit that little subscribe button, click that bell, and be sure to click that link in the comments and caption. I have created some amazing training that's going to make a huge difference in your connections and relationships with men. And let us know in the comments, which of these have you found, of the R, the S, the A, or the E, that have been the biggest factors in your own relationships? And which one are you committed to working on moving forward? Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.